Hello, everybody. Welcome back to YHS on Monster Island. And, I was going to say Monster Island Live, but we aren't live because usually if you're on the show, that means it's a Monster Island Live. But with me, all the way up from Denton County, from Von Erich country, he is everybody's favorite kaiju collector. And when I say that, it can only be one person. And that is the great Ryan Wilhelm. Ryan, how's it going, dude?
Jay, it's amazing. Thank you so much for having me again on Monster Island. There is no island I would rather be on, my friend.
There might be a few. There might be a few, man. It gets a little crazy. I mean, this is a crazy time on Monster Island. We have so much going on, and I just recorded with Jake yesterday, and it's just nuts. It's between -1, between the trailer for New Empire, between Legacy of Monsters, between Designer Con coming up. I mean, you and I off the air were just talking about like fun things, G-Fest and everything next year, which like it's not that far away. Like it's just there's so much, but it's good. But it's good.
It's the best roller coaster I've ever been a part of. I mean, honestly, the kaiju boom is alive and well.
I know.
It's only gonna get crazier, man.
What is this? It's like 1967 all over again. And I think that everything has been so positive. Or if not even positive, like just like there's been so many eyeballs on it and stuff. Like I just feel like this is not like a small blip. I feel like, to your point, I think it's just getting started. I think we're going to continue seeing this and get new fans and more things. And hopefully it's not just in like visual media and like TV and film. It's in toys and other things. So I don't know. It's a great time to be a kaiju fan. I'm glad we got to experience something like this before we're too old and like aren't able to even remember any of it.
I mean, we're so used as kaiju and Godzilla fans to be like, get off our lawn, this is cool. But all of this movement has validated us for the first time in a hot minute, and it is cool. And it's important to try to take a positive spin on it. Let everybody like what they like.
Yeah.
And if you can, hop on board of the enjoy it all, because it's so much more fun that way.
Oh my gosh, it's the best.
Dude, monster movies are the best, whether they're cheesy or whether they're serious. I mean, guys, they're monster movies. I mean, they're amazing,
Yeah, and you can like one type of monster movie better than the other. That's great, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy them all. And if you don't, cool, enjoy what you enjoy. I mean, it is crazy to think that since the pandemic, we had it was a Godzilla movie that, really helped bring kind of the box office back to like in-person theater. When you think of Godzilla versus Kong, and like it was heralded as like a little bit of like, hey, blockbusters can work still in this post-pandemic world. And we don't talk about it as much anymore because it feels like that was like a decade ago, and it wasn't that long ago.
No.
And now we have a record-breaking movie for a different reason, for its serious tone and its critical praise. And we have that, and then we have an Apple TV Plus show with Kurt Russell. It's nuts, and the cool thing is like that's going on, but behind that, the toys, which we both are obviously like love so much and talk about even more so than the films. It seems like nowadays, it's not like those have only grown as well. Like we have so much more stuff out there to buy at every level and type of collecting, just like we have on the viewing side.
It's true, man. Bandai, absolutely on fire. Japanese Sofubi, absolutely on fire. There are lotteries that we all try to enter and lose because these pieces are so rare. I mean, every level has something for someone. It's so cool to be involved with it.
Oh, and you're probably going to get that next level of like of Playmates and for the MonsterVerse films that are going to go in there and like invade the targets and stuff, which are awesome because as much as we at our age and our love, like our like stage in collecting, that stuff, doesn't usually permeate our shelves too much. But like, that's probably the most important piece because that keeps the newer generations. Like we all started at Bandai, or we started at, in our case, like, Trendmasters or the Imperial Godzilla. Exactly. Like that is so critical to get them involved in Godzilla and such. So like, it's so important. And I love like walking in to a Target or a Walmart and seeing that stuff in the toy aisles and the adult collectible aisles and whatever aisle. It's so awesome. And it's all happening. And that's gonna ramp up even more as we get closer to the New Empire.
I can't wait to see all those toys, man. And I know my daughter is like super stoked that Godzilla is rocking some purple dorsal plates again.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be rad. So.
Oh yeah. And I know that toy leaks are out there with the new style and everything. And I've seen a few. And it's just like, I mean, it's kind of like Trendmasters in a different way. Like they're just getting so wacky and out there, but like in a fun, silly way, right? I just feel like fast forward 30 years, are these collectors going to be talking about these Playmates Monsterverse figures like we were the Trendmasters stuff, you know, seeing those in the aisle at Toys R Us and be like, why does Anguirus, why is he like a jacked, roided out, like pro wrestler? Like what the heck's going on here?
That
Like
Biolante, dude, that Biolante is a crazy figure.
Oh, but it's good, man. It's good. So other than just general craziness, I mean, we have to talk about what you've been buying lately, because as you know, you can't come on here without showing us some good stuff, because that's a prerequisite to get on the island, is like, hey, you got to have some weekly pickups. So I did mine yesterday, so I'm going to shut up this whole time. It's going to be all you, man. What have you been buying and putting in the Wilhelm collection lately from the world of kaiju?
So with a couple friends, I am a part of Leviathan Collectibles.
Yes.
Located inside the North Dallas Antique Toy Mall. Well, I call it a toy mall because we have toys there, right? So
they have basically, you run the upstairs. Like it's kind of crazy. It's I know people are like, oh, it's in the antique mall. They're thinking, oh, it's a stall. You know, like I have to go wade through the, you know, the random, you know, doilies and dolls and wooden rocking horses and stuff. No. Like if you go upstairs, it's Leviathan Collectibles, and your stalls are just, and rooms are amazing. Their rooms are amazing. But then I know the other person that shares the upstairs with you, it's similar stuff. It's like
Spider's Cave.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of cool stuff.
I mean, you guys have like a Godzilla room. You have Sofubi. You have really wacky, odd, just off the wall zany collectibles, and then you have like basically a VHS old video store built in there with all this crazy, not only like vintage VHS, but like also Japanese VHS and all this, and posters and all it is really cool. And it's like, I promise you can go and enjoy Leviathan without seeing one wooden rocking horse or any of that stuff. You can just go straight upstairs, or empty Coke bottles, like, you know, like glass bottles, like just go upstairs and it's all monsters and all cool stuff.
Dude, it's true. And, you know, we try to stock it with really cool stuff that we love, right? Or maybe it doesn't necessarily fit in our collections anymore. So we put in some serious gems there. Yeah. And our friend Chance was moving some stuff out, and I happened to see this bull mark. Okay. I had no idea this existed, but it's a bull mark Kaiser Ghidra from Final Wars.
Oh, wow.
Check this thing out, dude. It's massive. I mean, it's as big as my head.
Look at that.
But, I mean, he's got some wicked red eyes.
Oh.
This thing is just...
I mean, and I didn't think it was possible to make Kaiser Ghidra look good.
Look interesting, right? Like, and I don't know why I was drawn to this, like, right away, but... It's got the bullmark charm. Yeah, it's just kind of an odd piece. And I was like, you know what? This is going to go well in the collection. I don't have enough Millennia stuff, so this works. So
that's really
Kaiser Ghidra.
Look at that, man. That's a great pickup. But that's the type of stuff. If you guys are passing through the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you have a moment and you can stop by the North Dallas Antique Mall, like, and go to Leviathan, like that's the type of stuff that's there. Like legit. Yeah. Like, I mean, this isn't like you go there and you see like, oh, there's a Shogun Godzilla, and, you know, which is awesome, but like, you know, we see those at toy shows and stuff. No, like it's like really odd and very, very obscure Sofubi and kaiju collectibles. It's cool.
Yeah, we definitely try. And if Ryan and I are up there, we like to hang out and talk to people, you know, and hold court, if you will, and just, you know, talk about what's going on. Kind of like how we do, you know.
It's a clubhouse, man. It's a hangout. Yeah,
exactly.
It really is cool.
So everybody's got Godzilla fever, and rightfully so. But I've also been kicking out with Gamera a little bit. So our buddy Calico Chris posted he had a really cool Mars on Gamera. Check this guy out, man.
I love that one. Yep.
Glows in the dark.
I think I've sold that one in the
very simple, but very cool spray on the back. It's got like some teal and green, and this thing glows, man. Yeah. This could be a nightlight. Like really cool green eyes.
I love that sculpt of Gamera.
Classic Gamera. You know what I mean?
And it's like, it's classic, but I feel like it's an upgrade over the actual suit in like toy form. Like it's really good. And that's I love that without even seeing it glow, I can tell it brings off a powerful
when I pull it over here, it's like
I'm telling you, man, we've talked offline, but I'm telling you, I really want to snag you for a kind of a Showa Gamera retrospective. I've also been watching a lot of Gamera, Showa stuff, and like, some of these I haven't visited in a while, and some of them I've watched like now a couple times over the last few weeks because I've just been like, oh my god, I haven't seen this in forever. And I'm just shocked with like, if you'd have asked me 6 or 7 years ago what my top or my ranking of Showa Gamera, I don't think it would be the same as it is today, which is
it changes every time.
Yeah.
That's the beauty in it, though, right? They're all relatively good, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And they can all be kind of, slightly shifted depending on your mood, depending on what you're looking for.
Not counting Super Monster. We're not counting.
Right. Speaking of Super Monster, check this out. This is Mecha Tortoise. Boom. Ooh. Have you seen this guy?
I've seen it on Instagram.
It's crazy. Yeah. Shout out to Adam Griffin, Thirsty Thursday.
Oh, Thirsty. We love Thirsty Thursday.
He took this from me, if you will. A guy posted that he had it, and I was just a little bit too late. Adam got it, though. And so Adam told me he saw one on Yahoo Japan, and I was like, okay, I'm jumping all over that. So I picked one up, and this is maybe my favorite Gamera collectible. I mean, it's...
Now, who does that one? Is that...
Okay, so I have the tag on it. It is crazy, man. It's actually autographed.
Oh, nice. Akigo Oguchi, Mecha Gamera. That's amazing.
Yeah. Super, super cool.
Very cool. Yeah. And I mean, and hey, we love Thirsty Thursday at YHS and Monster Island. So if you love...
Check this stuff out.
Oh, yeah. If you love monsters, if you love Jurassic Park, if you love Transformers, if you love any of that type of stuff, and you also love booze, go check out Thirsty Thursday on YouTube. Their channel is awesome, and Adam's a great dude. And I mean, he got you Mecha Gamera. I mean, that's amazing.
See, I've been chilling with some turtles, just hanging out, watching -1. I'm going to see it for a third time.
Oh, nice. I love that it got extended. I love that. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge sign. So great.
I'm taking everybody I know. You know what I mean? Like
I love
coworkers, my wife is going. I mean, everybody. My neighbors, I'm going to bring them along.
I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah.
What else? You get anything else?
So no, those are pretty much it, man. I've got a few things coming from Toku Toy Town. I'm trying to be responsible, take care of the holidays, but then I'll be picking up some serious gems.
I know I should have had them right here, and I could have this is a future.
I'm salivating. I'm finally gonna enter the pool of Neo Player One. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. So it's funny. So talking about Neo Player One.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't win any of their lottery. I did win the hetero lottery, but I haven't won any of the other ones, which stinks.
With the trade biter.
But it's great because that means that there's like thousands more people entering, and they should, because they're doing. They're one of those that, like, it looks cool, but then when you get it, like, it's even better in person.
I can't wait.
And whether it's the Godzilla, or I have the 64, and whether it's the header, whether it's the Bolton, whether it's whatever, like, it looks so good in person, and it's like the right size it's the right goofy and cartooniness, but still like, oh my god, this is an amazing sculpt. They nail it. But I was having, like, we were kind of whiteboarding, like, who are some of the folks that we probably would consider for a Toy Anxiety, YHS Toy Anxiety Jeffrey for Kaiju Toy of the Year and Toy Line of the Year. Neo Player One's been an interesting debate if they're going to be considered, because of the negative is it's hard to get them. And it's a negative. It's like, great for them. They're making money. Like, it's not a knock, but I mean, to be Toy Line of the Year, I think accessibility has to be factored in there. But then they start releasing more and more. It wasn't just the 64 in the header. They have the train biter. They have this stuff coming out. I'm like, and the Boltons and everything. Like, they haven't had a miss yet. They haven't had a miss. It's like, we have to consider them.
They've been absolutely on fire, dropping gem after gem after gem. And that's why we want them all so badly, is because, like you said, there's not a miss in the bunch yet.
No.
But they're hard to get. And
they're doing the US lotteries, not just the Japanese lotteries, which is awesome. I think that's a nice, move by them. It makes us happy. But yeah, that's one of those things. It's like, I'm angry because I want it. I'm not angry for them because I work under the pretext that all of these companies are doing what's best for them financially and from a business standpoint.
Of course.
And they should, because I want them to make money. They're the artists. They're putting in the work. They're doing everything, taking the risks. We're just buying it, right?
Yeah,
But I want them. But like, if they have to charge $500 for it and only can make 14 of them, great. Like if that's what that's worked for them,
I'll stare at the pictures all day.
I know, right? To be happy for the people that get them. But if that's what's right now, if it isn't, and they can make 150 of them, but just don't because they hate us, like that's a different story. But none of them do that. But Neo Player One is like, it's like this year, like I don't know. It's almost like we woke up on January 1st, 2023, and it's like, oh, Neo Player One, who is this? Oh, wow, they are amazing. It's kind of like Sorry Jirushi and Passion Tank. I felt like over the last couple of years, like you just like, oh, what? And you're just going to start dominating the landscape. I feel like Neo Player One's kind of in that boat now.
You're right. They've all taken about a year to do so, right? They're just like, boom, new hitter, boom, new hitter, boom. And so it's crazy. Like, what's going to be next year? Who's going to do a -1 Sofubi first?
Oh, like, I just, I feel like, so it's funny of the modern Godzillas, right? Like, so let's say like you have Shin, who I think is like, there's so much Sofubi of Shin, right? And then you don't have a ton of like the anime Godzilla, Godzilla Earth and stuff. You don't have a lot from Godzilla Ultima. The Max Toy stuff is great, but like that's really it.
Yeah.
And now and we with Spiral Toy, we're starting to get like legendary Sofubi, like the 2014 or 2019. I forgot which one they technically say it is. But that stuff's great. But like it'll be funny if they like, skip all that and just go from like Shin to -1, bam.
Boom.
Because it's gonna be insane. And we got nothing from even the ride. We got the X Plus, but that's in the Bandai, but that's really it from Godzilla the Ride.
That's true, yeah.
So like I feel like that would be really cool if they started ramping up production of those kind of more modern Godzillas just to see it in Sofubi form. I think Ultima would translate awesome. I mean, what Max Toy did was great, and I think they could do. Other people could do some great stuff.
A smoky gray with red spray Ultima, like come on.
Oh yeah, I mean, it really is a really good piece that Nagata and them did. Like I think that I just feel like even one like a bigger one would be awesome.
100%.
I'd love to like US Toys do it a wacky. Marasan would do a great one.
Marasan would kill it.
They would do some great stuff. But yeah, and it's funny. It's like we have Passion Tank and Sorry Jirushi and Neo Player One and even like the resurgence of Caractix and stuff. We've seen these big spikes and stuff from these new companies, but like the cool thing is Sun Guts, US Toys, Max Toy Co., Marasan, all the Bullmark stuff, the modern Bullmark stuff, like none of that's like dipped. It's just like we keep getting that steady. It's not like, okay, Passion Tank is great this year, we're getting less Marasan. No, we get like 17 new Marasans a day.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a freaking awesome.
The backbone is still the backbone.
Yeah, and I think that's
like, man.
Oh, it just, I don't know, it makes me happy. It's like, and then of course we have all the other indie smaller shops that are still producing really great stuff that fit within the kaiju community. What they might not be a Subaraya property or a Toho property, but like still, like Last Bastion Studios and Ragnar, like there's stuff that's like kaiju-esque. And I'm sure you have a couple. Speaking of turtles, right? Yeah, there you go.
I love turtles.
I know. I mean, there's just so much stuff. But anyway, yeah, Neo Player One, great.
Yes.
If you have a chance to get some Neo Player One.
Get some. And buy it from Toku Toy Town.
Yeah, or not. Get it. Hey, that's one. Just get it where you can get it because it is awesome. And it's one where like, hey, look, if you overpay for it compared to what you see maybe a year down the line or 5 months,
it's worth it, dude.
That's when you're not even gonna remember how much you pay for it. Because once it comes home, it's just gonna be like, they belong here. They belong here. It's you don't even. I love it when you buy a piece, and you like, and maybe it was a lot, or maybe you didn't have time to research it. You just like, I have to have this, and it comes up, and like you don't ever even remember what it costs because it doesn't matter.
It hits different, man.
Yeah,
it just hits different.
Yeah, I mean, usually when I can say, "Oh, I paid this for that," it's probably because at some point I'm like trying to justify it, but like I literally have no idea what some of this stuff costs because like it doesn't matter. Like it is just, it's like part of me. It's like exactly like how much did my arm cost? I don't know.
No clue. I saw it and I was like, "Yep, I need Mecha Gamera right now." Why this is not a thing is beyond me, man. Mecha Gamera would rule.
I mean, we got Mechani Kong, we got Mecha Godzilla, obviously. Like,
I mean,
it would make sense. I mean, if we
could start a poll,
I know, right? I mean, if it would have extended after Jiger, and it would have, I know it would take 9 years off before Gamera Super Monster, but like, if the 70s would have continued, like, I mean, Mechagodzilla was a craze. Like, I mean, 74, like, of course, of course, Gamera would have ripped that off and done a Mecha Gamera. Right?
Would have been amazing.
What if Daiki got their stuff together and could have gone in, like, 1974, or 75, of course, the year after, right? Like, have Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and then Gamera versus Mecha Gamera. It would be amazing. Or Robo Gamera. I'm sure they would.
Robo Gamera. Yes.
Robo Turtle. That would be amazing. It would be great, and it would be awesome. And yeah, I'm not Jagger. I'm sorry, Ziggler. Ziggler was the last one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. I can't always get those. Yeah, Ziggler was the last one. Oh yeah, you have to end it on the xylophone before you get to Super Monster. That's right. But anyway, so okay, I know you've been buying some stuff and you've been watching this stuff we've talked about. And Gamera, has there been any other stuff that you've been watching recently? That you've seen recently?
Okay,
so rewatched.
Yes, I did rewatch some things, one of which we will be discussing tonight as well. So in order to really preface my mind for the serious vibe of -1, I wanted to revisit the whole Shin trilogy, if you will.
Okay.
So I started with Godzilla, went to Ultraman, and concluded with Kamen Rider. Ooh. And I hadn't sat down and watched all 3 in a row like that. And man, what a cool experience that is. First of all, I really enjoyed it.
I need to do that. That's such a great idea. I haven't done that.
It was really fun. But it also totally transformed my ranking. So when I left, it's spoilers, right? But when I left Shin Kamen Rider, that was probably number 2 with a bullet for me. Maybe number 1 on any given day.
Okay.
But watching them all 3 in a row, I've now changed the order to Ultraman, Godzilla, Kamen Rider.
What? Okay,
is that crazy?
so what's funny is, okay, so I was going to ask you, like, the final question was going to be ranking the 3 Shins, like whatever. And mine going, like, now, which, like, now I have to do this thing that you just did, because mine going in was Shin Godzilla and Shin Kamen Rider, so close.
Dude.
Yeah, like, because Shin Godzilla, I probably enjoy Shin Kamen Rider more, but I think Shin Godzilla might be, like, it's Godzilla, but also, like, there's something about it, like, it would have been close, like, depending on which way the wind was blowing, but I love both those. And then probably a pretty big gap in Shin Ultraman. Love Shin Ultraman, but I would have never, I have to watch them all together to see, like, how that works now, because that's, wow, I'm surprised. I mean, I need to watch Shin Ultraman again, I think.
Anyway. Shin Ultraman, maybe it's the one too that I've seen the least now. I've seen Shin Kamen Rider about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
Ultraman only 2. But still, Ultraman, for whatever reason, it hits all of those buttons for me. But yeah, Kamen Rider was almost 1. Now, I mean, today at least, it's number 3. But that said, all 3 are still number 1, if I'm being honest. Right? They're such great films, man.
Now, going into Shin Kamen Rider, what was your Kamen Rider, like? Where were you at on, like, your personal, not just knowledge, but, like, where did Kamen Rider kind of fit in your pantheon of tokusatsu? Like, your kind of, like, this is what it meant to me, or how much exposure had you had with Kamen Rider?
So I grew up watching some of the Masked Rider stuff. I don't know if I was watching it as it was coming out or reruns really at the time. I was still a pretty young kid. I kind of got into Kamen Rider Black a little bit in high school, and then it just kind of faded out of my lexicon, and I focused more on, like, Godzilla, super robots, that kind of thing. Got back into Ultraman, Gridman, and then I heard about Shin Kamen Rider, like, becoming a thing, and that's when I realized, okay, I need to go back and revisit the first series again. Try to make my way through V3. That was my goal.
Yeah.
Did that, and now Shin Kamen Rider is so much more important to me because it pays so many cool beats and homage points to the first series, right?
Yeah.
What with the soundtrack, with a lot of the shots, man, in Shin Kamen Rider are almost taken directly from the original series.
Yeah.
Like, beat for beat. I mean, it's such a great film. I don't know. Is it number 3? Maybe it's number 2. I'm going back and forth, right?
So were you, like, when you went back and revisited one? So I am similar to you, except for I did not watch the Masked Rider. Did not get into Black. I really was like, my first time ever watching anything Kamen Rider was episode 1. It was Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man. And Bat-Man. Number 1 and number 2. That was my first experience with Kamen Rider, were those first 2, like a little bit later in my like love of kaiju and tokusatsu and everything. And it was just so different and cool. But did you like, what were your overall like thoughts like on the original, like basically through V3? Like, did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Was it like, is this cool of that time, or what kind of were your thoughts?
So I grew up very much as a big Power Ranger kid. I was in martial arts at the time. Just a big fan of that kind of era of tokusatsu.
Was it at a juice bar? Was it a martial arts studio and juice bar though?
I wish, man. We had those glass bottles of Gatorade.
Oh, okay.
And I remember one kid threw one against the wall, and I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah,
crazy.
I forgot we drank Gatorade from glass bottles. Oh,
that's how old we are now, Jay.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. Like, so I love, dude in a suit doing hand-to-hand martial arts. And if the crazier, zanier bad guys, the more I'm into it. And Kamen Rider is that on steroids, right? So like, Kamen Rider is one of my all-time favorite things. I need to get more entrenched in it, but there's almost so much, right?
Yeah, it's like Ultraman or Sentai. Like, I mean, those are the big 3. We know that. Like, it's overwhelming.
It can be, for sure.
But I feel like with Kamen Rider, I feel after you especially ingest the 90 episodes, whatever the first series is, it feels like it's a lot. Like, I feel like you get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you feel like I feel like you can be a Kamen Rider fan after seeing that and knowing, what happens kind of during that first series. But it's I just love that it was the 70s. And then you have the horror vibe and still like the low budget tokusatsu, the martial arts, everything just kind of together. It all like worked, and it shouldn't. It shouldn't work. But I
think that's why I like it so much, though. You watch it and you're like, what is it about this that I find to be so compelling, right? Because the story is cool, but it's kind of just loosely given to you.
Yeah.
The martial arts are cool, but then right when it gets really good, the person either dies or they change it to something else, because they're trying to just hit all these beats. But I don't know. There's something about Kamen Rider that's really just magical.
It goes back to that whole thing of, it's like when sometimes something is cheap and low budget and looks crappy, it's bad. And there's sometimes when it's like cheap and low budget and crappy looking, it's good and it helps it. And at Kamen Rider's that, like, it's like the villain costumes. I mean, like, it is literally like bad Halloween costumes from like Spirit, like, I mean, it's bad, but yet in the context of the show, it's like, this is amazing. Like, if it was an amazing, like, Toho funded costume, it wouldn't be as good.
You think about these characters too coming at you, right? You're like, that's not scary at all. Dude, baloney. If Bazooka Tortoise comes at you, man, and he's like trying to get you, you're gonna be freaked out, man.
It's almost like, so it almost looks that fine line of like kaiju for us, like the bigger, like, actual like daikaiju.
Yeah.
It can only be so scary because like we've never seen an animal that's 150 meters tall, right? Like, there's a little bit of that that fantastical that like does require us to jump to that, right? But seeing these creeps, these freaks in this, like, this happening, we've never seen a mutant like that, but like but it's almost like it's just like one step beyond, like, the sideshow carnival freak horror stories of, like, of yesteryear, right? When that was a thing, when humans did that. But like, it's closer to that. So I think it adds that, like, more, I don't want to say believability, but like, it almost have more of a personal reference to it. And so it's like, I could see like a weird serial killer dressing up in bad bat makeup and like biting people. Like, that could happen. I don't think I can see, in at least what I've seen in the world, the physical world now, that a giant smog monster coming from outer space. Like, maybe. So I think something about like that, how bad it is, almost makes it creepier and scarier and better. It's so weird.
Not to mention, you give him a sweet motorcycle and let him just do all kinds of
scarf.
Cool things with that. Like, that's rad.
Yeah, it really, like, if you try to explain Kamen Rider, even more so than Ultraman, because Ultraman, like, superhero type stuff, but like Kamen Rider, it's like, yeah, I mean, he's a grasshopper guy that's he's a really accomplished, brilliant scientist, but also like loves motorcycles, wears a scarf, turns into a mutant grasshopper, and fights this evil kind of terrorist Nazi-esque organization, and fights these mutant bats and spiders and stuff. Yeah, I know. It's like it is like, no, that is not a good idea. And it's like, but it is.
On paper, this should not work. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it does. And again, it just made an incredible film, man. I mean, Shin Kamen Rider is something that I wish more kaiju fans would sit down and just take it for a spin, because it really is a cool movie, and it's something unique that a lot of us would enjoy if given the opportunity. I think there's a lot of people that are like, Kamen Rider's not my thing, but it's fun.
That you bring up something, Ryan. I think this would be a really cool conversation, not a debate or I think just kind of like understanding it. Because I think you and I think fit in a similar mold. We're like, we love kaiju, but like we also love greater tokusatsu, right? Like, tokusatsu is, kaiju is a subdivision of tokusatsu, Japanese special effects, and like daikaiju is one thing, and then there's like your Henshin heroes and stuff where your Sentai live and your Kamen Rider live, and Ultraman and things. But for some reason, I think like there is a group that doesn't, like, they won't go into that world, right? Because it's like, no, I like my giant monsters, whatever. And then some are like, well, I'll like Ultraman because it's giant monsters, or later Sentai because it's giant monsters, or Spectre Man, of course, because it's giant monsters and it's genius. But then like Kamen Rider, because it really is like, like early Sentai where it's like you're battling mutants or dudes in masks that are human sized and things like that. I wonder, like, what like is that the main reason, or why do some people not cross over more to in the broader tokusatsu than they just stay kind of in that Godzilla kind? And hell, some of them just stay in Godzilla, right? They don't even want to look at Gamera or Gilala or anything else. But like, I just feel like there's a group that like lives only in one of the circles in the Venn diagram, and there's a group that's in the middle. I'm curious like what the sizes would be, and like what's the reason, because I feel like if you like, especially like Showa era Godzilla in kaiju, you would like Kamen Rider, even though there's not a giant monster. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Dude, especially Shin Kamen Rider. Because
especially.
It's literally a love letter to Showa fans. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, with like amped up violence and craziness that you wouldn't expect to necessarily see, right? But
So going into Shin Kamen Rider, and you saw Shin Kamen Rider in the theater when it had its events one day.
What a crazy year, man. In 1 year, Shin Ultraman, Shin Kamen Rider, and Godzilla -1 in theaters.
It's insane. Not to mention all the other stuff. The Netflix series. We got a Gamera Netflix.
Something to celebrate, man. Something to celebrate, But yeah, I saw it in theaters. What a cool experience. I mean,
Now, when you went, was there a lot of people there?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
There was a lot when I went there. There was like 40 people, 50 people there. It was crazy.
I went with 2 close friends, and I want to say in the theater there were maybe 10 other people.
Really?
Yeah.
There was one dude in full cosplay when I was there.
What?
100%. Came in, scarf and everything.
See, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is, like, I live in an area where I literally have a Cinemark, a Look, an Evo, 2 AMCs, all within like 6 miles of me, like in different directions, and a movie tavern, all within 6 to 7 miles, and not one of them was playing Shin Kamen Rider. I had to drive to Arlington to go see it, which is crazy. I mean, we usually get all of that stuff, anything Fathom, but I had to drive all the way out there to see Shin Kamen Rider. I'm glad I did, because it was a cool experience on the big screen.
It really did. It hit different on the big screen for sure.
Did. Maybe not as dramatic as I think -1 will. Like, you have to see it on the big screen, but pretty like it. You definitely the experience in there, especially like I said, I had a bigger audience, and they were like, you could tell they were all the the nice, I don't even say subtle touches, the homages, the very blatant homages to the original. Like, people were hooting and hollering, and
that was me, really cool. And my buddies were like, "It's not that cool."
So you were pretty jazzed going into it.
Man, I was amped.
You had high hopes.
Yeah.
I always tell people when I was going into Shin Kamen Rider, I think with Shin Ultraman, because I do have more connection to Ultraman, like from my past viewing, that like I was like, I kind of in my head was like, okay, I bet you it's going to be this. I think like I'd really like it to see this, but like, you know, I just had a feeling like from what I saw in the previews and everything, like the trailers, and I'm like, okay, Shin Kamen Rider, like I went in there like, I just think this is going to be insane. Like, I don't even want to guess what's going to happen because I just feel Shin Kamen Rider done in the Kamen Rider done in the Shin universe is going to be wacky, and boy was it. So
it was, man.
Okay, so let's talk top line. I know you've already mentioned a little bit of it, but overall, when you came out of the theater, happy, like you felt like what are the emotions?
Absolutely. The first viewing, loved it so much. To me, this is like the ultimate homage to a boss fight movie where it slowly elevates. You get new characters, new powers. You understand kind of the story arc of the villains a little bit. You understand your hero arc a little bit more. And it was such an interesting dynamic of crossroads that they were experiencing about hope and sorrow and what it meant to be a hero, but also like, you know, avenge justice, if you will, and really like push for the cause. And there's a lot in this movie. So yeah, it took me a minute to really fully digest everything, but the action alone, like what? And the visual effects, so cool. I know a lot of people complained they felt like it was shot, you know, on an iPhone, if you will.
Yeah.
I dug that for this. I thought that was perfect
for it.
Yeah.
No, I'm in your camp. I'm 100% in your camp. I thought the way it was shot was perfect for what they were shooting, if that makes sense. Like
exactly.
I felt like yeah, I thought that was great. And I've never thought of it that way. Like, I guess like the build of this show, like it's almost like you go to a different level and you get a tougher boss, but you get stronger and you learn a little bit more about Shocker and why you're in this, and also about Hongo and Ruriko and all them, and like that whole actually it's almost like it's like a lot of little levels leading up to, you know, the main boss. That's a really cool way to look at it. And I think you might have solved Shin Kamen Rider.
Well, and even at the end, right? Like the story still continues because it you know, you have to put in another quarter in and see like where your hero goes, you know, and I love that about it. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So so the first thing that, you know, early on, man, you're getting right into action, right? I mean, like within the first 30 seconds, like, you know, he's punching people and blood spurting out on the camera and all that. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like, okay, we're like, you know, as a viewer, like we're in for a roller coaster, right? This is going to be good. Or not even just a roller coaster, because there's not a lot of downs. It's really just kind of like something that goes really fast. Narrative velocity is not a problem in this one. But that first kind of battle, before we really even get into a lot of the story as a viewer, like that first battle with the new interpretation of Spider-Man, how did you like that? First off, did you like how they modernized, updated the villains?
I was a huge fan.
Me too.
I have nothing to complain about. Like when he did the super kick down and he hit him against the wall and the disintegration, like everything. Like I was 100%. Even the tease of Spider, like when it was in between the two trucks, you know, that was so cool to me. Like there's so many little things about this movie that, man, if you're hooked into it, it's quite good. It's quite good.
So of all the villains from a visual standpoint, who was your favorite? Like, what do you think was like the best, like, update?
You know, in a way could be a Spider because he was rad, but the Batman is also super creepy in this movie, man.
Like, oh my gosh. I mean, and I'm glad that they made him that way.
Yeah.
But he's a character like I want to know more about, but also I'm like repulsed. I don't feel like it's like disgust. He's like just gross and repulsive, but like perfect. And also like, I don't know. I thought that was so brilliantly done. And everybody
the chameleon was super cool though too.
Chameleon was super cool. Very cool. I mean, they all were good. I mean, I feel like obviously Scorpion the Scorpion Og was like, you didn't get a lot of her in there. Like it was small just to like kind of that point. But I really thought Wasp was done great. But I think the Bat Og was I think he was the most memorable to me from a like one I can't get out of my head. of all of them.
The butterfly fight scenes too were pretty rad, though. You know,
I mean, all of them were good.
Yeah,
like I don't think there was any misses. I really don't. I mean, I would say that the negatives were with the chameleon mantis and the scorpion. Like you just didn't get a lot of time with them.
Enough,
I felt like,
right.
yeah, but that's not because of the design or thing. But butterfly, wasp, and the first two, spider and bat, like I don't think they could have be done any better.
The wasp stuff for me felt very much like I was watching Kill Bill. It just took me in that sense of like hand-to-hand sword, like ready to roll. Nothing but victory mattered, you know. I was so into that. Like,
that was a great battle.
Cool.
That was a great battle because you obviously got like Ruriko is way more involved in that one storyline wise, and I love you had Wasp's her like servant who like gives his prana to her to help her fight and level up to fight Kamen Rider. Like that stuff was so cool and so well done. It's almost like, once again, going back to the thing, it's like we start with Spider-Man and we know enough about him, but a lot of it's just really kind of his cool vibe, right? And then we get a little bit more knowledge about Bat because we see him with his potions and his science and everything, and then we get a little bit more, with Wasp, and then of course there's actually a story there, connection to the characters. But then there's the big story connection with Butterfly. And I get like yes, we had a couple in between, but like for the most part, like those four, like it just kind of ramped up beautifully.
And I would argue that's how all of the Shin movies are. They're told in four parts for the most part, and.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. Okay,
that's fascinating
because I haven't watched Shin Ultraman in a minute. So obviously, with Mephiles being the fourth, and then Alien Zara being he was kind of his puppet. Then who were some of the other ones that were in the
Zeton at the end?
Oh yeah, of course Zeton. Yeah, at the end,
right.
and Zafi and Zeton and that weird that thing.
Yeah, and then the movie started with. Well, it started with Gomez, but he was
all the Shin, all the Ultra Q, all the Ultra Q guys.
That was super cool.
That was, I think, one of the coolest things that they did.
Narango, yes.
They had. Let's see. They had. I'm trying to think. They had Goga. They had. Oh my gosh! I almost said Laurinaitis. No, that's wrestlers. Larugius.
The Mammoth Flower was also
Mammoth Flower. It was Mammoth Flower, Larugius, Gomez, Pagila. And Goga, I think.
But his first fight though was with Naranga, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Sorry, his first fight, yes.
So that would technically be.
Yep, no, 100% was 100%. That would that's your Spider-Man going up to 100%. I love that.
Shin technically also, or Godzilla, 4 parts with the tadpole part if you include that. So that's
that's pretty awesome, dude. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But it's so. Here's what. Okay, I know we're jumping all over the place, but because we talked about
ADD.
No, it's fine. That's every one of our episodes. Yeah. That's the best conversations. It's like real life conversation. So I'm trying to think. So Ultraman or Shin Ultraman. I'm going to put this in a very generalized term. I know this is like totally like not doing it justice, but for the sake of this, like we're putting a lot of episodes of the original Ultraman kind of moments and putting them together in a movie, right? And Shin Kamen Rider to some degree the same thing. So the reason when I came out of Shin Kamen Rider and why and in future viewings why I thought Shin Kamen Rider was better than Ultraman was I felt like it, even though it was episodic almost, and there was like a lot of these episodes like kind of the really highlighted by the villain, I felt like it felt like one continuous thing and one story in Kamen Rider better than Ultraman. Ultraman, I felt like, okay, there's a commercial break and I'm watching the next episode, and I felt like it wasn't as connected, but I'm going to bite my tongue on that until I watch them together because I have seen Shin Kamen Rider twice since the last time I've seen Shin Ultraman, but like that was one of the things that I felt like it did a better job of, even though it's at a car crash pace, it did a better job, I think, of like feeling like it was seamless as opposed to Shin Ultraman.
Can I 100% agree with you? And I think that's what I liked about it.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
In a weird way, Ultraman felt like I was watching a modern version of the 66 show. Yeah, it felt like I was getting a clip of this. Oh, that was rad. Clip of this. Even cooler. Clip of this. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it ended, and I was like, that was pretty insanely awesome.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
Kamen Rider is very much one bam KO punch, and you wake up from it, and you're like, that was insane. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
both are amazing experiences, but yeah, they are definitely different.
Yeah. It's crazy that those two things exist. It really is.
And in the same year, dude. In the same year. Like,
yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, so going back to Kamen Rider or Shin Kamen Rider.
Yes.
So we talked about the villain. So overall story, did you like? What were your kind of just overall thoughts on let's call it the A storyline, right? With Hongo and Ruriko, and then of course obviously Ichimonji comes in after that. But what did you like? Did you feel they did a good job reinterpreting Hongo?
Hongo killed it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved Hongo's story arc. I think when he was realizing he was kind of a monster within, he played that really beautifully while he was allowed to. That part was very small, you know, but it was a cool scene.
Yeah.
He battled with his abilities, and should he or shouldn't he be so spiteful and vengeful, and like, loved that. I love that he finally started letting his guard down a little bit, you know, towards the end. And then when things happened with him, it felt appropriate, you know, and for the Mask Rider 2 to continue.
Yeah.
At first, I wasn't the biggest fan of Mask Rider 2. I don't know why. It kind of was.
I had a very similar. Yeah.
It took me a little bit to warm up to him for some reason.
It's almost like Hongo, like, here was my challenge with it. And I honestly, like, even after future viewings, you just touched on what I feel is my low point from a connectivity standpoint with Kamen Rider, Shin Kamen Rider, was I thought that Ichimonji just was like, it was like Hongo was endearing and like you felt everything, and like he was just like, it was very like just this like sincere, like heartfelt, like transition, like you felt every pain what he was felt with him grappling with this situation. And it's like introduce Ichimonji, he's better, and he's just kind of like cool, cocky guy, like you know, smart ass type thing. And then it's like Ruriko reprograms him, and then it's like he's automatically like our hero. And like it's hard to do that in a 2-hour movie, right? To do basically 2 full character arcs of main characters. So I think they did probably as best that anybody could. But to me, like, you know, the ending playing out as it does, like I'm not as, I don't know, I'm not as maybe as satisfied with, you know, Kamen Rider 2 kind of leading on with just the spirit of the soul of Hongo in there. Like, I just felt way more connected. But then again, maybe that's a good thing, because if there's a second movie, then now he has his chance to shine, and I have that bridge of Hongo. So like, I get like, I don't know the whole view of what the story needs. Does it need 3 movies, 8 movies, 100 movies? I don't know. But that was the one thing, like, I just didn't feel as connected with him. The good thing was, like, if he would have died and then Ichimonji would have been the one to win the final battle by himself, I think that wouldn't have worked. But how they did it, I think, was great.
Agreed 100%. And that is kind of the thing with Kamen Rider, is that it is very much guy A goes to guy B goes to guy C, and I get
that's
that.
Cool.
But he was a cooler bad guy, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. No, I agree. He was a great like henchman that you're not like is just as strong or stronger than your main guy, and you know your main guy has to figure out some other way to beat him other than just like strength and power and speed and
exactly. Abilities. You got to level up, you know.
Yeah, Hongo was. I thought, the actor's name escapes me right now, but like, I thought he dominated that role, and I love the original Takeshi Hongo. I thought that role is hard to cast, and I think they nailed it. I really do.
What a killer trench coat, man! You know what I mean? Like, what a cool trench.
And I love how the scarf was like his connection to Ruriko. Like, you look good in this. I love like everything. It just felt like so. Like, there were just so many like sweet moments in it.
And she was incredible too.
She's had a good year, I would say, between that and -1, Manami Hamabi. Like, I think like, yeah, I mean, she was.
I low-key love her. I think she's amazing. Yeah, like, seriously though, she's such a good actress. You know, like,
she's great. I mean, this role was hard to play. I think
Yeah.
other actors and actresses could have, her role in -1, I think, was a little bit more like, okay, like, I get it. Like, I've seen that
It's a certain
character
type
before.
of character
Yeah.
role. Yeah.
This one is so off the wall and hard, and, like, the stuff she has to do, and she dominated it. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
like,
have
just,
to,
like,
emote emotion without doing that,
without
like,
emotion, yeah,
it's
and,
yeah.
like, you're part badass, but part, like, not.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
um, no, I think, she and Hongo, like, on screen, it was hard because, like, your eyes just focused, and you were so intent on seeing what they were talking about or they were doing. When they were on the screen together, it was pure magic, you know, it
Mhm.
was great chemistry, but she was wonderful. You know, one other part that I thought was really cool, and I wish we could have dove more into, but we just, you know, from time limit, was the origins of Shocker. I thought that was cool. They did with the billionaire that wanted to find, you know, happiness and humanity, and he had the AI, and then of course I's like extension into the world was J, and then J obviously was upgraded to K, and we see K, and I thought K's presence at all of these
He's always
events,
there.
he's
Yeah,
always there, was awesome and creepy
yeah.
and like cool, and like I love like the origins of Shocker are like done in like the best intent, but it's almost like this like this commentary on AI, and also like how it can, you know, maybe take something that you're intending as a human, and when you put it into the, you know, the zeros and ones of AI, and it turns into that, like, yeah, it's obviously bastardized and turned into something totally different. I
Right.
think that is cool. And I would love to see a deeper dive into this universe's Shocker organization and kind of how it got to where it was, because I think there's some really cool stuff there.
It's so weird, man. It's, like, very Showa-esque, but
Mhm.
very modern as well, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a cool amalgamation of the 2, for sure.
I that's what I think is just like the triumph of this film, is that it's able to do, also on paper shouldn't work now, and yet
Yeah.
they were able to do it. And all of this, they do all of this while still basically tipping their hat scene after scene to the original series in a way that is like not like, oh, fan service. You know, it's like no, like this is making the film better. And I just
Well, that's what a lot of people complain about with Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman is that
yeah,
both of those, while they're fantastic pieces of art, are
yeah,
kind of just that. They're art pieces where
yeah,
this literally holds the hand of its
yeah,
predecessor, you know what I mean? And again, I just don't think enough people have watched it to fully
yeah.
grasp how cool that is because
Yeah, so I know, so obviously Shin Godzilla was a huge success.
yeah.
Shin Ultraman, I think, I know early on hit the numbers they thought it was. I don't know where it ended up at the end. I
Mhm.
know it kind of started off really strong, and then I know it had some lighter weeks after that. I don't remember where it netted out. And I know that they had a pretty low projection for what Kamen Rider was going to do, and they even fell under that. I think it was like, I want to say it was like 15 million US. I don't know how many like I don't know how many yen that is, but and it maybe it was I don't know, maybe it was even higher than that, but it fell under that. Like and that was like didn't even make its money back when you factor in like marketing and all that type of stuff, which is a bummer because I think it deserved some more, an extension. It deserves to do some more stuff.
Yeah, I don't even think it's getting a physical release, or if it is, I don't know if it's been announced
Oh
because it's only on Amazon Prime right now,
yeah.
so
Is he going
but
to
for
be on
free.
but for free? That's
Yeah.
the best part. But that's one of those
Oh,
things. I wonder if you know, whatever ends up with this kind of loosely connected, the Shin Japanese Heroes Universe, like it's going to be one of those things where like the only way you can get a physical Shin
box
Kamen
set.
Rider is to get in it with everything else, right? It's going to be that one. Yeah, looking at it grossed 16 million, which US, which is not a lot when you factor in like what probably it costs plus marketing and everything. I don't know.
Right.
Um, oh, that's a bummer. It just, you know, but they're all right. There are great films that just they don't resonate with the box office as much as they do with the people that actually, when they do watch it, how much they
Yeah.
love it.
It could live with us, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
this could become the cult classic, you know, of the modern kaiju fan.
Yeah. And it should. It has a lot of really, really good stuff. So kind of final thoughts on the film. Like, were there any other tidbits that you thought were exceptionally awesome or exceptionally terrible or anything like that? Like any of
No, I mean, for awesome, yeah, the music for sure. That also harkened back to some of the original Showa stuff. Pretty much any of the over-the-top motorcycle parts where like the bike would either be transforming or he would use it as a weapon, like fantastic. The death scenes are very impactful in this film. You feel the weight of it, especially when someone does actually disintegrate.
And they dissolve out, yes.
Yeah, it takes a moment, you know, and you feel that after they've left, and it's like, okay, now we move on. Like I like that beat of attention, you know.
Yeah, and it's also not one of those like, oh, they survived and we revived them. It's like, no, they're gone. Like they're
no, yeah, like for real though, they're gone. Yeah, like it's like an adult superhero movie on steroids. Right?
Yeah,
I mean, especially from the jump, it's just like, I hope you're ready because here we go.
One thing that I thought was interesting, I loved their play with kind of the how they handled the metaphysical, like prana and life force aspects and everything, and how like channeling it and using that in kind of, you know, to help augment yourself. Like I thought that was great. Yeah. I thought they I love how they like explained enough to be like, okay, moving on. I don't need to learn anymore. You know, like that's a good enough explanation for me. I thought they hit that on the right level, the right amount of notes. But overall, like I just felt like this thing was just like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, and it's you know, I always talk about how one of my unironic favorite movies is Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon, because like, and I joke, like, if you don't like what's going on, just like wait till the next scene because it's a totally different movie. You know, it's like we have like lightsabers in one, and then you have like, you know, Megazords battling Ghidorah on the moon, and the next one you have like medieval fantasy. And this one's the same thing, except for if you blink, it doesn't necessarily change to a different movie, but like it's something else crazy is going to happen. Like it's going to be somebody's head's going to explode from a punch, or he's going to be doing a super rider kick somewhere. Or I just feel like it is just like you are literally like on the edge of your seat, like smiling, laughing, screaming, like the whole time through the whole movie. There's like no downtime in it. And I love it. It's great.
Yeah, man. If for nothing else, it's a wild ride, right? So buy the ticket, take said ride, and I don't think you'll regret it, especially if you're a Kamen Rider fan, a Tokusatsu fan, or you just like watching crazy stuff. It checks all those boxes.
It does. Man, it's so fun to talk about this movie. This is a great movie. This is a good talking movie. Like, it's one of those movies where it's like there's some it's like, okay, yeah, I saw it. They're great. Like here's some cool stuff. But this is one like you're talking to a friend about it. And then like you're talking, and then like you change the conversation to something else. And you're like, oh yeah, also remember back in Shin Kamen Rider, remember this scene? This is one of those movies that's like there's so many little things that it's like, oh yeah, like I gotta remember. You can't remember everything, you know, right out of the gate and stuff. And it's nuts. But I'm so happy this film exists, and has such high rewatchability. This is one that you can watch 1,000 times. I love that like the two special agents they named Taki and Tachibana for, you know, the nods to the characters in the original Kamen Rider. I just everything was done just, I don't know. It's like it was a big warm embrace of the original stuff, but like they also made it very cool for people watching it in 2023.
It's still very much an art project.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So like if you like cool art projects, but you also like Kamen Rider, boom.
Yeah. 100%. Now I'm gonna have to go. Like, I'm really gonna have to go watch some more old Kamen Rider tonight. Like, I feel like I have to. I mean, yeah,
dude. It's all about V3.
Okay, so I was gonna ask now that I've been thinking while we're talking, since you stole my last question already on the rank. Where does it rank in the Shin universe? I gotta think of a new one. So, regardless of the studio, so it doesn't matter if it's Toei or Toho or P Productions, doesn't matter. Ignore that piece. If you had to throw in any tokusatsu franchise into this universe with Shin Godzilla, I know Evangelion's in there as well, and of course Kamen Rider and Ultraman. So you have Subaru, you have Toei, you have Toho. What tokusatsu franchise would you want to see modernized in the context of the Shin Japanese Heroes universe? Oh, we already have it ready to go. Yes. Gamera is a good one. It's a good, or Robo Gamera is a good one.
Robo Gamera, but dark and serious. And like, what if this crazy alien turtle is just here to destroy and bring sheer chaos?
Oh, I mean, what a change. Now on that one, I have a question though. On that
Power Rangers, maybe though, if I'm being honest. Power Rangers, Sentai would be kind of cool if it were dark, cool. You know? Yeah.
On Gamera, would it be? Do you think it would conflict with people too much on like? They already have the Heisei trilogy. They already have done their more. I don't even want to say dark. Adult, but like, yeah, like they're more like modern, even though I know that's like 30 years ago now. Like they're more serious version of Gamera. Or do you think like that? Who cares? We can do it. We can.
I think you could take it up a notch, right?
Yeah.
So like
how make it more artsy. Make it more artsy.
Shin is serious, but -1 is also serious, but on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
You could have the Heisei stuff, but also an artsy type serious Gamera. I mean, imagine a serious artist getting involved with a Gamera movie with today's technology and everything, and like really pushed it.
Oh yeah,
that could be something cool.
I think mine would be Spectre Man, and I know that's what everybody thought I would say, but the reason is because I actually really would think like it would be cool to see how they interpret Dr. Gory now. I mean, he would be like, I don't even like dictator space ape. Like, I mean, it would be, but also like you could modernize him because he is like brilliant and a genius. I mean, he could be like, I don't know. I mean, it would be like an evil, like Elon Musk type gorilla in space, and
like a Dr. Doom kind of.
I know, yeah. Like, I mean, like there's something there, but like also crazy. I don't know. I think that one would actually be cool. And also like Kamen Rider, it has its very zany and silly and low budget parts, but like adds to the charm and it works. Done in a modern way, like I think could be really, really cool, especially some of the monsters that like a Dust Man or a Gilligan, which like they have a cool story around them. Like you could make that really compelling and sad. And I don't know. I think it could be, or Satan King, because it's a cool name. I think those would be really, really cool that they could do. But Sentai would be a fun one because
Gridman.
Gridman. I mean that probably. And I'm not a Gridman, like I'm not very knowledgeable about Gridman, but from what I know, like that probably would be the easiest to transition. I feel like there's already that like gritty element in there, or Guyver maybe. Guyver's probably pretty the gritty. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh man, now we gotta. I hope they bring a new franchise in. That would be great,
dude.
I'm sure they could get Spectre Man cheap from P Productions. They aren't doing anything else.
Spectre Man would be cool to see. Some kind of refresh of Spectre Man should happen,
I think so. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get anything updated on Zone Fighter or Mirror Man. I don't think Toho cares about those properties. I think there's always a chance that Tsuburaya could do something with some of like the Fireman or Jumborg Ace or one of those, but like, that's a far fetch. But like, one of the franchises that's like the main one of said company, like P Productions, like I guess they have Lion Maru and some other ones, but so I think it would be it could be done. Like it could be done in a really fun way. I know, right? Fan film that, but I just said Dr. Gory, greatest villain of all time.
Dr. Gory.
Ryan, it's always good to talk to you, man.
Hey, what else? Always a pleasure.
What else do you want to tell everybody?
Well, come check us out at Leviathan Collectibles.
Yes, for sure.
Shout out to Heritage Auctions. I shoot comics there. Check us out on ha.com for cool comics and stuff. I'm always around. I'm doing Kaiju Go. We're doing G-Fest. G-Fest too, baby. That's amazing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so we are so G-Fest next year in July. Hopefully everybody is going to that. Ryan will be back helping us out at Toku Toy Town and just hanging around being everybody's favorite kaiju collector. I mean, there's a reason you are. And then and hopefully in January, in January, we'll be releasing some really cool stuff in Kaiju Go. And of course, everybody that's here and can go to Kaiju Go knows Ryan is heavily involved and did a wonderful interview with Bob Eggleton and John Yerkeba last year, and he's going to do an equally good one with our special guest, which you'll find out in January. And so wait. I know we'll have you on for that, but I really think we got to find some time. I really want to do a Gamera Showa era ranking show with you. I think that would be super fun. And I know. Well, now I got to do we have to do a fantasy booking the next Gamera movie if Gamera continued in the 70s after we had this Robo Gamera talk. So I think like they have a couple Gamera shows. Actually, real quick before I kick you off.
Yeah.
Waiting to give a chance. I have not even talked to you about this once, and because we mentioned Gamera, and it's been in my head to ask you, what were your thoughts on Gamera Rebirth? I never even asked you that.
I'm a terrible Gamera fan. I haven't even started it yet.
Okay, you got to start it. It's an easy watch. It's super easy. We got to talk after that. Then that's a third show. So there we go. We have like our own Gamera trilogy. We have our own Gamera trilogy. Ranking Showa, fantasy booking the 70s, and review on Rebirth. Because I'm curious to hear what you think about it. Jake and I, we had very similar opinions on it, but I've talked to some people and they've been all over the place. I'm very curious where you land on it.
It is on my to-do list and very high. That and Monarch are like 1 and 2. So I need to just.
I would do Rebirth first. Yeah, I mean, you could probably do that in like an afternoon. It's easy watch. All right, man, Ryan, thank you so much. This is so fun.
Always a pleasure.
Always, dude. And we will catch you later, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and go watch Shin Kamen Rider. It's free.
Check it out, Amazon Prime.